I was so right about the Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 situation. I made a video before I got my hands on the game and I correctly predicted exactly what the internet's reaction to this game would be. The gaming industry right now is at its most toxic, and here on this channel I like to cover games in a level-headed way, so if that sounds good to you, then stick around. See, doing this YouTube stuff means that I will inevitably get things wrong. I mean, I predicted the Suicide Squad would have a similar revisionist history to the Avengers game, and well, you can see that I was completely wrong about that. But I was so right about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. The game is amazing, so check out my review if you're interested, but the online reaction was insane. Before we start, I will be talking about a couple of characters and interactions in the mid-game of KCD2 that could act as spoilers, so be warned. I made a video about how I think people would react to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. In it, I spoke about a few things. The first was that people would conflate the goal of historical accuracy with anti-wokeness, which to me made no sense. Of course, the anti-woke crowd was going to jump on KCD2, thinking it was saving games. And to me, they were just mixing up the two. Representation of minorities and things like that would understandably be pretty poor in Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 because it's set in the 1400s. The first game was stupidly criticised for its representation of women and the lack of people of colour in the game, and it felt like some journalists were grasping at straws trying to make a story out of nothing. People can criticise whatever they want, but they need to aim their shots at the right targets. I think asking questions about representation in games where it makes sense is okay. If a game is set now or in the future, then it probably is a bit strange that there are only white people in the game, but making that same argument towards a game set in 1400s Czech Republic is just simply dumb. Now this is where I was right about the treatment of this game. I said that the typical internet mob wouldn't treat the game on its merit, and every single Twitter post, Reddit forum, and even the comments on my previous video only bolstered my argument. The number of comments I got on that video about how they pre-ordered the game because it's anti-woke was staggering. And it shows that they were buying the game not because they were interested in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and what it did to RPGs or how this game mechanic looked good or this or that. Instead, they were wrapping it up in some needless online political battle. The funniest thing about this whole situation though is that they doubled down, only further proving my point. Once rumours came out of having a black person in the game or being given the choice to have a same-sex relationship, the internet just blew up. And yes, in current day terms, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is more woke than Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, and yes, that is in air quotes. First off, there was a gay character in the first game, and it wasn't explicitly shown, but it was all but confirmed that Istvan Toth, one of the main villains, who by the way wasn't a historical figure, was gay, and that he and his second in command, Eric, were in a relationship. Now, as a story device, I liked this in the first game, and it made it better in the second because Eric and Toth played a much larger role in the story. It is 100% confirmed in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 that Eric and Toth were in a relationship, which made the interactions between the two and Henry so much more impactful. I don't want to go too spoilery and talk about what actually happened. It just meant that the whole story of revenge and betrayal humanized these villains more than they did in the first game. Now on that humanization point, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is much better than the first. There's a whole quest line where you could choose to help out a deserting band of humans, and the first game was criticized for its barbaric depiction of the opposing factions, and I find this a pretty interesting topic because first, the majority of articles published about this are from an American lens, which I do have to point out isn't the only point of view out there. You know, us Europeans have our own opinions on certain things as well, but people don't seem to care about that. They only care about the Americans. And I think this is just a difficult subject to broach for many reasons. So for context, I'm Irish, and I always like to put myself in other people's shoes, so I ask myself the question: if I were to make a historically accurate game set in Ireland, how would I depict the British forces who occupied Ireland for 800 years? Of course, there would be a heavy Irish bias in my depiction of the time. After all, they did come in and commit heinous actions for many hundreds of years, and it's not that every single soldier was a bad person. At the end of the day, they were just looking for a paycheck. But of course, I would depict them in a way more negative light than they would if it was created by an English developer, say. But as I said, not all the soldiers were bad, so I would probably try to humanize them a small bit more than, say, how Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 did it. So I would probably take the Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 approach of having a few quests with humans to humanize them a bit more. But at the end of the day, the overall big bad would be the British invading forces, and of course I'm Irish, so it would be slanted more favourably towards that. And I'm no historical expert even in Irish history, but I'm certainly not a historical expert in the history of Bohemia and the Holy Roman Empire, so I'm not going to comment on that. But I think a small bit more consideration that would make the coverage of what Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 and 2 are better. Women play a much larger role in this game now. In Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, there was Lady Stephanie, who played a minor role and was a romance option, which I found quite funny because Sir Divish thinks you're an upstanding lad, but little does he know we had sex with his wife behind his back. You know, Henry, he's not very honourable. Then there was Teresa, who saved Henry's life and got him back up and running. and apart from a handful of date quests, she wasn't really involved in the game at all. Here in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 though, many women play big parts in the story, and Catherine is great. If you read her codex entry, Catherine is based off more the idea of the name and the history of the name, and I think it's a great way to interpret what I guess you would call local legends or the origins of a name. And the representation doesn't stop there. In doing some research on different ethnic and religious groups in Bohemia at the time, and let me preface this with I'm no expert, I'll never claim to be, the evidence is a bit inconclusive on how many people of colour there were in the more rural parts of Bohemia that Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 was set in. There's always a chance that a travelling group of merchants rolled through town, but I guess you could just explain that away by literally saying that in the time that Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 took place, they just weren't there at that particular time. Now, in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, the game is in a larger, more populated region with a proper city, so of course there would be more diversity, and that's what I said in the first video. If it makes sense, then go ahead, and here it does because it only makes the story better. So there is a black character in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 that plays a pretty major role in the story, and it made for some interesting interactions. Musa of Mali, who is an Arab scholar, not only is he a different race, but he's also Muslim, and I love what all of this new stuff does to Henry. He was just a small town blacksmith's son who drank in a local pub and got into trouble with his mates. And the little moments where he sees running water for the first time in Kuttenberg or his first black person or discussing different religions are great. And it extends to Kuttenberg, which has a whole Jewish quarter. And it only makes it better, and they didn't shy away from it because you can see how different NPCs react to different people. And it makes sense that people of this time would be skeptical about all these new ethnicities and religions, and guess what? All of these extra bits make the world more immersive, more believable, and in turn, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a much better RPG because of it. The reaction to all of this was insane. There were rumours of 4 same-sex sex scenes in the game, and I was past the part that these rumours were talking about, and nothing like that happened. They were all just completely fabricated. Now, there are gay romance options in the game. I didn't click on them, so I'm not sure how they play out, but the option is there, which, if you're a true RPG fan, should be a positive to you because us RPG fans want as much choice as possible. Again, you just don't have to click it. Apparently, people were cancelling their pre-orders because of it. It got added to that non-binary movement, and the typical people came out of the woodworks lambasting the game they haven't even played. And I've no problem with people reading reviews or articles and making their minds up on a game because of the game. You know, games are expensive and most people don't have the time or money to invest in a game that they mightn't like. But that's in good faith. You might see that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a slower paced RPG and say, it just isn't for you, and that's fine. But a lot of these comments and posts weren't doing it in good faith. They read an unvetted rumour that ended up being false and decided that the game was too woke for them. So in the last video, I asked people to be just a bit more normal, and I'm doing the same here. Now, I think a lot of people watching this will be normal. You will decide to buy Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 on whether or not you think the actual game is for you, not some political crap. And I find it quite ironic that throughout all of this, the people who are talking about too much politics in games are the ones who are always looking for politics in games. There wasn't a crazy reaction to Isfan Tot in 2018 when Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 was released, and I'll be interested to see how this pans out now. And with all that said and done, if you want more normal coverage for level-headed people of video games, mostly RPGs, then please subscribe. I have a Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 full review there if you want to watch it. I absolutely adore the game, and I would love to know what you think about the game in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.